What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. Hope everybody's having a good time on this Wednesday, February 1st of 2023. Yeah, I said that correct. We are already in February. I know I sound like an old guy when it's like, oh, we're already in there. Yeah, it sucks, guys. Don't get old. Time moves quickly. Anyway, before we get into anything fun, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars, Spotify and iTunes. Spread this word of mouth. Go find us on the socials. Just go search the Alex Cuesta Show. With me, as always, unfortunately, David. Why?
Very unfortunately. It pains me to come on here and to see you. Talking to you is okay sometimes, but to see you, that's the worst part.
I mean, you still have the Nacho Libre going, which I'm kind of happy with. You're keeping the Nacho Libre. Like I said, once you get enough of the Jack Black hair going, when we eventually go live stream, you're going to have to go shirtless with like the blue puffy spandex and do the full Nacho Libre.
We want people to watch. Why would I do that?
I mean, making fun of the people on this is just as good sometimes as listening to their bad opinions.
It's true.
So there's that. So before we jump into our guest this week, last week we had my two buddies on, John and Paul Stephanopoulos, co-owners of Four Brothers Pizzeria and Drive-In Movie Theater. They have a bunch of locations over here in the Hudson Valley, and we got to hear what the small business owner about their business, but also kind of the challenges that they're going through with this economy. They talked about the balances of prices and things like that, and also to go visit because their drive-in movie theater is freaking awesome. So that was a good show. Please go back and give it a listen. But this week, we have a very important show because our guest this week is, I want to say, one of the people that really, really started pushing the culture war in the favor of the right. And this is way back during President Trump's running up to the presidency, being president. We are pumped to have on Logan Cook. You probably know him as Carpe Donktum. He's one of the most well-known memers of all time. What's going on, my man?
Hey, what's up? How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Like I said, pumped to have you on because, again, if you've ever seen a political meme, specifically one that's on the right and is actually funny because, you know, the left can't meme. But if you've seen a political meme from the right, there's a good chance Carpe had something to do with it. So I want to jump right in here. Why start memeing, man? What was the reason? What is the Carpe Donktum origin story? I want to know about the name because the name's fantastic. And I want to know why. Why just start doing this?
I guess we can start with the name. I guess the name is just pretend Latin. C's. Obviously, the first part is real C's, and then the Donktum is just it's a pretend Latin word for donkey, and the origin of all of that. I mean, I'm not even sure that I know the origin. It was like in high school and maybe even before high school, but then it sort of morphed, and that's just that was what all my social media was, because that was just the thing. Like, and then it morphed into what it is now. I didn't plan it. I wasn't 12 years old and deciding my political career and future. So
were you always political, or did you just kind of enjoy shit posting and kind of like politics and fell into this? Or were you always kind of an overtly political person?
Well, I wouldn't say like overtly, because I think, I was raised conservative. I grew up watching Rush Limbaugh when he had a show on television.
Yep.
My mom always had Rush Limbaugh
Yep.
on in the background at the house. So there was always a little bit of that going on, but I wouldn't say that really I got involved in much until 2016. And then 2016, and it didn't even start off with just Trump. I just got into the politics of everything because, we'd had 8 years of Obama, and it was time for Republicans to take back the White House. And, and then I got behind Trump after a little bit. I would say pretty early on, like a month or two after he started running, when he was actually getting going. And then, getting into the meme thing, it was just, I spent a lot of time on Reddit, because Reddit was one of the places you could go to the Donald on Reddit, and you could post whatever you wanted. And I really enjoyed making stuff that other people liked, making stuff that people thought was funny. And that's why I chose it. It was fun to make people laugh. So
yeah. Did it help that that Donald Trump is kind of a shit poster in real life as well. Like it's kind of easy to like make some memes sometimes because it's just the things he says or his mannerisms.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that Trump perfectly embodied what you would want from like a meme president.
Yeah.
Like he has so many quotable lines, you know, he makes mistakes and they're funny mistakes and he says funny stuff that you're not expecting him to say. You know, he goes right up to somebody and sort of says what he thinks, and everybody in the room is, you know, they're putting their tea and crumpets down, and you know, he's just talking like a normal guy. You know, what the hell is the matter with this? You know, like, that kind of stuff. And that just, I think it lends itself very well to memes, obviously. And I think he's a meme lord himself. So
definitely. So when you were doing this, did you think that it had the possibility to blow up when you started seeing people like liking more stuff on your Reddit? And then when it did happen, were you kind of like, oh, okay, now I have to continue to do this? Or like, so like what happened when you kind of blew up and became big? Like, how did that hit you?
Well, you know, it doesn't all happen at once. You know, like a lot of times, you know, people say, oh, they came out of nowhere. Well, the coming out of nowhere is built off of like at least 2 to 3 years of being, you know, in the trenches trying to get stuff moving. Yeah. And so it was just, to answer the first part of your question, there was no point at the beginning, the middle, and halfway to the end that I thought that this was going to go anywhere. It was just me posting funny stuff and, oh, hey, I got a big follower, and, you know, this guy followed me and this lady followed me and that kind of stuff. And then it just snowballs into, you know, then the president's tweeting out your videos and you're getting attacked by media and all that kind of stuff. So I had no idea that was going to happen. Not in a million years would you have said that, you know, in 3 years after you start doing something that you're going to be in the White House, in the Oval Office. So
that's So was it kind of cool being important enough to be censored, like being important enough to be like attacked, or was there kind of a little bit of scariness to it because these are, you know, the people that associate themselves with the Clintons, and Clintons usually make people disappear that are thorns in their side, and you were certainly a thorn in Hillary's side. So, you know, was it cool? Was there any point where you're like, oh shit, I might get offed for this? Like, where were you there?
Well, I mean, I think I hovered in between, you know, two different emotions about it, because it was cool to, you know, say, oh yeah, there's an article in CNN about me, or there's an article on the the Washington Post or New York Times. That was kind of cool, but then it does come with that other side of they're actually coming after you. And certainly when I was like completely censored, the funness of being completely censored wore off really, really quick. But I don't know, like the flip side of all of that is that I already know how incompetent the media people are, and so it didn't really scare me that much. I wouldn't say that I spent more than a few hours over the course of 4 or 5 years being worried about anything, really. But I mean, it's always there, sort of in the back of your mind. Maybe Hillary will pull up, you know.
Hey, Hillary, jump on the show. We'll talk to you. But you know, it's like interesting because there are times where, like, you know, me and Dave, like, we'll have like someone on and stuff like that. Like we had Billboard Chris and stuff on, and it's like I'd say to Dave, I'm like, are you ready to plant this flag? Like, there's no going back. Once we plant this flag, and it's like, and having someone like yourself who you would think, oh, he just posts funny memes, he's harmless, but it's like in the media, being associated with, you know, Carpe Donktum is like, now, okay, we're officially white supremacists. We're officially super racist. Like you officially, like, you know, we might
join the Alex Jones fan club.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Alex Jones, #Alex Jones was right. Like there's a lot of those. So you've been on Twitter for a while now. You know, that's where you really, you know, outside of Reddit, Twitter, especially with the Twitter in chief, Donald Trump, really helped you make your hay with a lot of retweets and stuff there. You're back on, uncensored and everything. What do you feel about the new Twitter and how Elon Musk is handling it right now?
Well, so I've been back just over a month, I think. So a month and a couple days. And I was gone for 2.5 years. So, I'm sort of taking it in and seeing what I see. So far, I like that he's brought back, I would say 90 to 95% of the people that like the high profile people. Yeah. I know that there's got to be 100,000 accounts that still haven't been brought back, but unfortunately I don't know their names, so I can't give them shout outs. But I like that he's done that. I like that he brought me back. That was nice. But I mean, right now, like if anybody's been paying attention to Twitter, like the last couple days, you've been seeing just the madness of the I'm going to lock my account and then unlock my account and all that kind of stuff. And, like I sort of had a fight with my friend Raheem Kassam today, and then I called him afterwards and we talked about it. And, I think I was making fun of the lock thing, and I'm still going to make fun of the lock.
So were we. So was I. On the account, because what leftist got in somebody's ear and said the best way to do outreach is to lock your account. So now any quote tweets from anything you said is gone. No one can retweet you, and it's like, to me, it's like, how did the leftists get the proud Republicans who don't like to be sheep to be fucking sheep and do this? Like, how did that happen? It's insane.
Well, so when I was talking to Raheem, we were talking like, I'm just making fun of it because and I had to say, like, you have to realize from my point of view here that I'm on Twitter and not all the influencers read their feed. But I do. Like, I check my feed, I update my feed. So I see a lot of the stuff. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, can you see this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can see it."
Yeah.
But part of that is that when I'm looking at my feed, the ridiculousness of 30 out of 40 tweets having the little lock next to them is just, it's absurd. Okay?
It's ridiculous.
And he's like, yeah, okay, well, I didn't see that because I'm not scrolling through my feed like that. But I'm like, that's the ridiculousness that I'm pointing out. And now whether or not it works, I want to, and we went more in depth on that, just talking about that there are parts of it that I think are working, because specifically that when you are locked, the algorithm really doesn't know what to do with you on the For You page. Because it's based off of, this tweet's got 2,000 retweets, so we're going to show it to you.
Yeah.
But when there's no retweets to base it off of, then it starts showing it more often. And so I think there is something there with that. But there's 100 other reasons why you might have low engagement. And that one thing he brought up too that I wasn't aware of because I was off Twitter at the time, but to appease the ADL, Elon basically worked out a deal where if you are getting these sort of secret strikes, that you will be sort of deboosted or whatever. And it has a lot to do with how many people are blocking you. Now, the left has huge, like absolutely massive block lists.
Yes.
Like hundreds of thousands of accounts on these block lists.
Anything that's associated with a
certain grown children. They find words and they block via words.
Right. And like William Legate, I think was his name. He was sort of a big time leftist troll, 3 or 4 years ago. He himself had this block list that people subscribed to that was like, 40 or 50,000 accounts.
It's so ridiculous.
So anyways, that in and of itself, if the what is showing up on your For You is based off of how many people are blocking you, and only conservatives are on block lists, then that will mess with it too. So there has to be some sort of changes in there made. But I don't know if I went off topic, but
no, it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. I just found I've been finding this whole like locking your account thing weird only because like it does seem that everything is kind of backwards. Like even Elon's kind of acknowledging it, that everything seems backwards to what he wants it to be. But I feel like, the goal is to get him to acknowledge it and then get that fixed. So locking your account is really not going to be useful at any point in the long run. Yeah, no. It's not a solution.
No, it's not a solution at all.
So that's why it's just weird to me. It's like maybe I get it for like a little bit because, listen, if you are doing this and you're making money off of it, like you kind of need the engagement in some ways. But at another point, it's just like, I mean, the whole goal is really, at least when he bought the company, was the transparency to be able to say something to him and then have his team or work on it. That was the main goal. So it's just a little weird to me.
Well, I guess I've been sort of surprised at just how embedded all of this stuff has been. Because I think that's the problem. If he could just point at something and say, fix that, I think he would do it. Mm-hmm. But you have systems built on systems built on systems. And so when you change one thing here, it messes with, I play games. I play World of Warcraft. And so in World of Warcraft, if you change something on one type of class or one thing, it messes with the balance of the entire thing. So when they make big changes, they have to make big changes on this side and this side and this side until everything normals out. Mm-hmm. And if they just start fixing this problem over here, then it breaks something over here. So I can understand how it's taking longer than he expected, because I'm sure it's taking longer than he even expected.
Yeah.
And I think he did say that, he got in there and it was just completely broken. Like, how do we even fix this? So, but it's not a long-term solution, this block thing. Ridiculous.
I don't know why. From what you're describing, all that's going through my head right now is that scene from Jurassic Park where the guy that plays Newman leaves like the Trojan horse in there, and then when Samuel L. Jackson goes to shut down, it goes, you didn't say please.
So it's funny you say that, because I had that exact thought today, and I was like, I should do that. Where I put like Yoel Roth or whatever his name is as Nedry, and Nedry's there and
you didn't say the magic
word.
Just have Elon there with the cigarette instead of Samuel L.
Yeah, well, he is African American, so it works.
It works. It does. He's the most wealthy, prolific African American of all time. But for me, what I just like noticed too, and I get it. Like Dave said, if you're making your money off Twitter engagements and things like that, and obviously like Twitter engagement is big if you're trying to promote a video, a podcast, like we use it there. But it was kind of like eye-opening to just see how hungry so many prominent members of the right are for this, and like how it's driving them insane. It's like, they need to get off Twitter a little bit. Like, I think some of them need to get the hell off Twitter, because like it was all like, oh, my engagement's down. Oh, my engagement. It's like, guys, you're still extremely popular. Like, I get it. Your videos might be taken like, but a little bit like relax. It kind of became like a little echo chamber of panic. And we make fun of the left all the time for this type of shit. So like, there's got to be some leftist trolls out there making fun of people on the right, and they kind of deserve it, because it was a little ridiculous looking, like you said, like 30 out of 40 people.
Yeah, some of those memes were really good. Like the one, it's, I forget, I don't know what the actual term for it is. It's the poorly drawn sort of
soy jack
guy with the caved in head.
Yeah, it's one of the soy jacks. I don't know the specific term for it, but
it's like, I'm going to lock my account. Now I'm going to go viral, guys. That kind of stuff was really funny. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, I mean, I understand why they're sort of freaking out.
I get it, but it was just kind of bizarre. Like, it just reminded me of like when the leftists go on like a little like attack stream and they're all saying the same exact thing over and over. It was bizarre just seeing a whole bunch of like prominent, people on the right doing the same exact thing. And
it's all relative too, because when Charlie says my engagement's down, he's talking about, I didn't get 5,000 retweets on this, I got 4,000.
Yep.
And when Cat Turd is talking about my engagement's really low, he's not getting, again, 5,000 retweets, he's getting 4,000. Mm-hmm. And so to somebody who is not used to that, who's used to getting celebrating with a cake and candles every time they get a like,
Yeah.
that seems very like wasteful and like just self-absorbed. But for them, it is different. And so I do see that side of it of like, you know, I want all of my videos to get 10,000 retweets, but you know, they don't all do that. So
would be nice, right? Would be nice. So I don't know about you, but I give a listen to Tim Pool a good amount. I'm a fan of Timcast. I think what they do there is good. They have like, you know, Ian Crossland's a unicorn that's not on the right, but great on the right movement there. But you know, his thing today was he had Malcolm Flex on and they were talking, he was saying, you know, as a term, Twitter is dead. Like you're looking at it right now, people are locking their platforms, engagement's going low. What do you think right now? Because Elon Musk has been on the record saying, like, we're hemorrhaging money. I don't know if I could save this. Do you think the platform is going to survive? Do you think that Twitter will still be around 5, 10, 15 years from now?
Well, I mean, number one, I think it's a complicated question. And I think it really depends on what you mean by surviving. Because, like, one thing that I don't, and I've said this many, many times. One thing that I don't think a lot of people understand is how small of the market America and the rest of the world is compared to China and compared to overseas, as far as the Twitter market. Like when those K-pop guys make a tweet, like they could just tweet out one word and it gets 500,000 retweets.
Yeah.
So and when Donald Trump tweets something, it gets 50,000, and on a good day, it gets 170,000. Right. So, but like these guys could just take a picture of their food, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, and it's 500,000 retweets. So, I think it's a little bit inwardly focused to say that if people in America or the UK are upset on Twitter, that's actually going to kill the app, because most of the engagement takes place somewhere else. Now, that's different from money. What will really kill the Twitter is when they no longer have the donors, and because their advertising hasn't been profitable since it began. So and before, when you had Jack in there, you had donor class from the left that was keeping it afloat. The rich billionaires that are like, hey, censor those guys and I'll keep providing you with money to keep the lights on. So now that's not going to happen, I mean, I think it is probably in more danger than it's ever been, but it is, as far as I'm concerned, the number one platform for business and commerce and all that kind of stuff. So if he can find a way to actually monetize what Twitter is, and I don't think it's everybody pays $8 or $11, whatever it is. I don't think that's the answer, but if you have the number one business platform, every company that's ever been created has a Twitter account. If you can monetize that, I think you can save Twitter. But you just got to figure out a way to do it. So,
do you think getting content creators to make videos, like if they can monetize, monetize, pull a lot of people from YouTube? Like, I get it would possibly hurt Rumble too, which Rumble's doing a pretty good job and on the rise. But if they could do something like that on Twitter, like bring back a Periscope on steroids, because Periscope was pretty good and it was doing something.
Periscope is still the best live streaming platform, even though it was a piece of crap software. It was still the best live streaming software available.
So would that be a good answer if we got people like yourself who have a big name to go and do something and work with Twitter and with Elon and say, hey, I'll do a weekly show. You know what I mean? And, we'll talk about all this sort of stuff. Like, do you think that could be a way that Twitter could at least stay afloat monetarily?
I mean, I honestly don't know enough about that space. Like you were talking about Tim Pool. I have no idea how Tim Pool runs the business side of his stuff. I don't know what he gets paid. I don't know if his show being on YouTube is profitable for YouTube, or if it's profitable for Tim but not YouTube, or if it's profitable for both. I don't know how any of that works. So what I do know is that I I don't see paying content creators as being the thing to save Twitter. I think it has to be more about the businesses, like doing something with them.
Got it.
And it's not just filling the screen with ads because nobody wants that. Then the people leave.
Yep.
So
then it becomes Facebook putting a bunch of bullshit in your face constantly.
Right. And nobody wants that. So,
No.
I mean, I honestly don't know exactly how you save it, but I think it should be saved. I think it's still my favorite platform. Like I didn't enjoy any of the, there were moments where I enjoyed other platforms, but there's no place on earth where you can, fight with the left here and fight with the right here.
Yep.
And,
You can go to Mastodon for like 5 minutes before they block you. You could jump on Mastodon and just say something, and then they'll just kick you off the platform.
There is no place on earth where you can go as a guy who's just in his living room and go fight with Ozzy Osbourne on Twitter.
That's very true.
That is fair.
There's no place. There's no place that you can go where you can just sit on your couch and then Stephen King drops into your comments and starts yelling at you.
Yeah,
like that just doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah, and I think that also helps Twitter in the staying alive aspect is you have all of these celebrities, all these politicians, all these people that we know as famous on there now. Let's be honest, they're all pretty old. Even if they have people helping them, they're not going to learn a new social media to utilize in a way that they can utilize Twitter. Twitter is very easy for the most part, and no other social media has been able to do it the way they do it. There's a magic sauce that they have, and also, there's some other things.
It's simple. Like I can't. Yeah, I'm not going to have a boomer moment here, but like Facebook hides things all over the place. Nothing is in the same place twice.
Yep.
And I don't like to use it. And Twitter is, you scroll around and, I think that's why people like TikTok too, is that it's, but TikTok is a nightmare to use too. Like there's a bunch of sort of super secret features, and
I can't stand TikTok.
I don't like it either, but but that's why people like it.
And, and Dave, like you said, like you were talking about the engagement with celebrities. I remember when Twitter was first coming out as a thing, that was the original draw. The original draw was we have celebrities on here. The average Joe can make a comment and a celebrity might comment back. And that was like, it could be your favorite athlete. It could be whatever. But that was the original draw. 70 characters, get your blurb out. You might get told to go fuck yourself, or they might say this is cool and I'll retweet it.
You can see the downfall of your favorite celebrity in real time.
You can take part in the downfall.
That's true. You can take part in
the downfall.
Look at the lead actor from Shazam. I forget someone Ivy, I think his last name.
Zachary Levi.
Sorry. Yeah. But just to come out and you know what the thing is though, he didn't say anything about vaccines. He said Pfizer is dangerous. Hardcore agree, I think was his
hardcore yes.
Hardcore yes with like face. Pfizer being dangerous. And to his credit, he's standing by. He posted something not too long after. Like this is an example. So it's a big stance. He'll probably get fired by DC next because he didn't toe the woke line, even though Shazam is a fantastic movie and I'm excited for the second one. But that was the original draw. Now I do have to say I'm pissed at Elon when he took away the direct message little thing on the profiles. That was kind of tedious because Carpe, I direct messaged you and asked you to come on the show or whatever.
Yeah.
That the only reason is it's not necessarily about that. It's about knowing who has
take it away.
Open. He took it away. It's not on the profiles anymore.
Yeah, it's not
but it's a good way of knowing.
Anybody?
No, you have to go to message on your regular screen, type in the person's at, and hope that they have it open. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. It was just kind of cool to know, all right, Carpe's cool. He'll at least accept a DM, maybe read it, maybe comment back. It was something cool about celebrity, the blue check marks that were down for that. But now it's it's not there anymore, and you kind of have to play a guessing game. So Elon, please fix that.
That must have been very recently because over
the last week. It's over the last.
I noticed I was going to go to DM somebody. I noticed it was gone, but I thought that maybe they just closed their DMs or something. But I'll have to look into that because I've always had my DMs open because I always think it's funny. It's sort of fodder for I can go screenshot stuff
and get content.
Me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, no. So that's happened. Elon, I need you to fix that. So let's jump into something else that can't be fixed. Joe Biden. That man's brain, and here's the thing, I don't buy into the whole entire fact his brain is toast. I think he is suffering in there, but I think Joe Biden is still the same racist ass socialist he always has been. So I don't think that that's any different. But the Biden presidency, obviously he wins in 2020. I've been on the record saying, is it feasible that Joe Biden won? Yes. Did he win by 81 million? Did he get 81 million votes? Hell no. There's no way he got 81 million votes. I could see him winning via electoral college. From your standpoint, looking in on what Joe Biden has done, it feels like he's been in office for like 16 years. Even
it actually does.
It feels like it's been forever, even though we're only about to dawn on his third. Basically, he just started his third year as president. How do you feel about how Joe Biden has been? Has he been better, worse, just as you thought he was going to be?
Well, so I have a slightly different perspective here because I think the last 2 years has gone really fast, but that's because I've been completely disconnected.
That's a blessing for you. Yeah, it's a blessing because if you've been connected, it has felt like it felt like a 90-year term so far. It's been insane.
Trump's presidency felt like it was 12 to 15 years because I was so connected and so into the day-to-day stuff. And I feel like, and it's not that I haven't paid any attention to what's going on, but I'm not constantly hooked into a feed of it.
Yep.
And so I really see the big stuff that happens and not the minutia of day to day. How has his presidency been? I think it's been a disaster as I expected it to be. Whether it was a worse disaster or a better disaster, I don't know. I mean, we're not currently in nuclear war, but we're on the edge of it, right? I mean, it's a possibility there. So that's never a good place to be. I mean, I was really mad when he left all the weapons and stuff. Just gave them to the
no. It's protocol. That's protocol. That's how we've ended every single war. Don't you remember in Iraq we left like our whole entire we left everything and we did that. It's just protocol. It's how you leave a war.
I mean, like, and I'm not one of those people that I didn't allow this with Trump, and I don't really allow it with Biden either. In this. The sort of attitude that he's in there making every decision and that, like, I don't believe in that. Like,
not at all. It's not true.
There's no way. There's no way that he's making every decision. There's no way Trump was making every decision. So, but I do understand that the buck stops with you, that like you're responsible at the end of the day. But when people go out there and they're like, Biden was just like, hey, leave all those weapons there. Like, he didn't do that, but his lack of planning and the lack of planning of his staff is what caused it. So it is ultimately his fault.
Yeah.
And I don't like to pin blame where it doesn't belong. But he's out there, like the red speech that he gave.
Oh my God.
That was Stalin Hitler-esque as we're going to get, and it really was. It was on the same exact line.
That was honestly like, and I'm trying not to just put like my Biden filter on things, but like honestly, that was like one of the most ominous speeches any president has ever given.
Yeah. Yes, and terrifying.
I'm not super scared of him, but like it was an ominous, dark tone, like even down to the aesthetics of the setup, right? And I know it was supposed to be a flag. It wasn't all red. It was just all red right behind him.
Yeah.
He's been awful, and his press secretary has been awful. Both of them have been awful. I mean, it's not something I didn't expect. I mean, Obama's press secretary just lied the entire time. And that's what, I mean, I guess that's what they accused our press secretaries of doing too. But in my estimation, there was never a time when they wouldn't answer a question. Like, you might not like the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but like, they're not answering questions. They're just like, now we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they never did that. And and you mentioned, that they're not making all the decisions. And I think it's been well documented, and people on the right have openly criticized that Donald Trump trusted his people too much. That's why he made some of his shitty decisions. He had some really, crappy establishment rhinos in there chirping in his ear, giving him bad information, like obviously Operation Warp Speed, which he's going to run on, which I think might hurt him about the vaccine with the people on the right. Plan. But I think he's going to talk about Warp Speed and be proud of it with the vaccine, and that's not going to help him. But that's got to be something that in his ear. And again, I think it's also hindsight's kind of 2020 here, because when he announced Warp Speed, when he was talking about the vaccine, I know I remember, because that was pretty early in COVID. None of us really knew if this was going to be the fluke that it essentially ended up being in a big way, right? Mm-hmm. And at that point, I think a lot of us were on board saying, listen, if this is going to be legit, go for it. If it's going to save people, let's do it. I was never too high on essentially taking the vaccine or, getting 1,000 boosters, but it was killing old people by a ton. It was killing people with comorbidities by a lot. Like, if it's going to save some of those people, cool. Now we find out that the whole process sucked and that the vaccine is not, it's a really good advanced treatment. It's a pre-treatment. It's not a vaccine, but he definitely listened to some people, and I agree with you. I don't think it's all Biden. But again, like you said, the buck stops there. And, he's just speech after speech after speech of just attacking Americans. I don't think we've seen something like this on a just full frontal attack on their own people, essentially since FDR interned the Japanese. Like, this has been a full frontal attack on everyone on the right. Every single speech. Yeah. And it's always been back and forth with that, right? There's always been, well, my friends on the right or the people on the right, but I'm going to unite us. Biden's like, no, fuck those MAGA people. Essentially, that's what he says every single speech. It's really
he was like, I'll unite everyone except for those.
Yes.
Right? Except for the 74 million that voted.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't want to get too into Trump's head. Just like I don't like assigning blame to people that don't deserve it necessarily. Mm-hmm. I also don't like imagining that I know what other people are thinking. But
and he's unpredictable on top of that.
It feels like to me that he put a lot of his own stock into the vaccine, mm-hmm. and he can't get around the fact that it wasn't what he wanted it to be.
Yep.
And he can't make those two work. So I don't know what he's going to do about that. I also agree. I don't think it's going to help him, because like, people are rabidly anti-vaccine and like they're mad, mm-hmm. and it's not going to help him. But I think that when he was doing it, he thought he was doing the right thing. And we do have the hindsight now that everyone can be like, well, I would have made a different decision. But if you go back to March and February of 2020, nobody knew what this thing actually was, because nobody would tell the truth about it.
Nope.
So, in the beginning of February, we had Joe Biden attacking Trump because Trump was being too scared, and then you had Nancy Pelosi talking about go to Chinatown.
Yeah. AOC doing the same thing. Yeah.
Right. And so nobody knew what this thing was. And then we got the biggest mistake I think we made was the lockdown thing, where we, and I honestly don't even think it was a mistake. Like, I said at the beginning of the lockdowns, 2 weeks, great. 2 weeks, we'll see what happens.
We were all cool. We have to open days. Up. Yeah, we were all cool with that. I think everyone was cool with that.
And I even like made a thread. I should go find it again, but I made a thread and I was like, 14 days we can handle. But every day after that is exponentially worse for the economy,
mm-hmm.
and we will destroy the economy. But the problem obviously is that when you give an inch, they take a mile. Mm-hmm. And so then we got, 40 years wandering in the desert of lockdowns. out of that. So I don't know.
It was crazy. Just what I remember, it was bizarre because I remember beginning of COVID-19. Again, I think we were all kind of scared shitless because the first thing I knew about it was late 2019. I want to say November, and that's really when it started hitting China big time. October, November. I worked in construction at the time. My buddy was showing me videos on YouTube of just Chinese people collapsing in the middle of the road. And then eventually Chinese doctors and officials just dragging that person away. And
there was also these reports coming out of China that could not be verified, where there was piles of phones.
Yeah.
Remember where they were scooping them up with shovels, throwing them in the trash. And those were supposedly outside of a hospital, that those were all the phones of the dead people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, that's the kind of stuff that we were like, oh, this could be like the worst, like this could be movie material here.
Yeah. Yeah. And at that time too, I think it's funny because at that time, like Plague was a big show. Not a big show, a big game, Dave. You played the game.
Plague Inc. was, that was older.
What was the one that you were playing that it was like a Contagion or something like that? Like there was a game that came out around that time that was similar to like create a disease and kill everybody.
No, it's Plague Inc. Yeah.
Plague Inc. Okay.
Yeah.
But and then I also remember early 2020, maybe late 2019, I'm a podcast listener. So I was listening to Glenn Beck, and Stu Burguiere is breaking down exactly what we were going to see. He's like, okay, be ready for social distancing. At this point it's 12 feet because it was 12 feet at first. Then it was 6, then it was 12, then it was up. So he's like, they're going to ask you to wear a mask. Go out there, N95s, these particles are way too small. N95s are going to do nothing. You need P100s. They're hard to get, but go get them. Like, if you were on the right and you were kind of listening to some of the talking heads on the right that knew this, you were very prepared for what was initially going to happen. And he predicted, he's like, we'll probably lock down the country. It will hurt, but that's more than likely what's going to happen. Like I can remember vividly working on the job site. I was an insulator, so I was playing with cancer up there, doing what I had to do, and hearing that. And I was like, oh, it's going to suck. And I just came to my wife and family. I'm like, guys, let's stock up on a bunch of stuff. Shit's about to come. And they're like, you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, maybe, but one time listen to me. And I remember like in the beginning, we had more than enough for 2 weeks. And then as it dwindled and dwindled and dwindled, I'm like, I'm going to go kick somebody in the face for toilet paper. Like, what is this? But it was a crazy time. So hindsight's 2020. But I'm going to ask you to look into the future right now. Joe Biden, he says he's running in 2024. I think all these Biden files are a nice way of the Democrats saying, hey, Joe, you can't run. Do you think he's going to run? Is he going to make it to that point and run in 2024?
Well, I mean, I think as it has always been, the main factor in whether or not he'll run is if there's somebody else that can run. And I think people are looking at Gavin Newsom.
I'm going to bring that up. Perfect.
And some people like that. I mean, there's all of the same morons that were in the 2021, the Elizabeth Warrens and Bernie's not going to run again. I don't think. I think he's too old. But you're going to have some of those guys, but they've already been through the ringer one time, and Joe Biden beat them. So you've got to come up with somebody better. Otherwise, they'll just, Biden's the perfect president for them right now. That he just sort of does whatever they say and sort of toddles around the White House. And as long as they limit his exposure to other people, he can't say too much or do anything wrong. So, I hate to give you a non-answer, but I have no idea. It's really going to come down to if they can find somebody that will be a better puppet for him.
Gavin Newsom actually looks like a villain. Like the guy looks like a Bond villain. So it's like, how are you going to, I don't know. But I think
he looks like Homelander.
He does look like he does look like Homelander. He really does.
That's what I thought the whole time. I know Homelander was supposed to be Trump, but he actually looks like Homelander.
And I could see him having laser eyes and laserizing like his secretaries when they disobey him. But no, I have the perfect candidate for them. Lori Lightfoot. I would love to see Lori Lightfoot debating Donald Trump. That would be my honestly, maybe my favorite thing.
I don't want to see Lori Lightfoot ever. I'm not going to lie to you.
I don't know. He would certainly call her.
I've seen her in the dark, because she's almost always in the dark. I don't want
Yeah.
to see her in bright lights.
Yeah.
She had that little dancing video. She has terrible rhythm. I can't understand. But yeah, no. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think, we still have a long time. Do you think DeSantis is going to run? I know Nikki Haley just said, it's rumored and confirmed that she's going to announce in 14 days, make it official. There's some other people. Pompeo's probably going to run. It looks like he was endorsing people during the midterm. So there's some people it looks like is going to run. DeSantis is not declared. DeSantis is still doing a ton of stuff in Florida. Seems like he's really engaged in Florida politics right now. Do you think DeSantis is going to run, or are there enough people in his ear saying this might not be the best time?
I kind of think he's going to run. I think, I've heard that there's some super PACs and stuff like that that have already formed, and those, as far as I know, they have to get consent from the candidate before they can actually form. So he's had to have consented to at least a few super PACs for the run. But whether or not he actually does, I mean, it's right now. I mean, there is a lot of infighting between the Trump DeSantis crowd, and I would say that it's probably accentuated online. It feels like there's more people fighting about it. Like when you go to a bar, or you go to a church, or you go wherever. Most likely nobody's fighting about it.
I think most people are like, let the best man win type of deal. I think a lot of conservatives are like, let's let the best person win there if that happens. Right.
And I think that if you were I don't know, there's been some wacky polls back and forth, I think
way too early.
I think I saw Bill Mitchell putting up something that had DeSantis at like 46% or something. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know where you got that, Bill. But I think it's going to be rough. I don't think it's going to be as rough as 2016 because I don't think people remember just how crazy that was when there were 16 candidates on the stage, and
that was incredible.
I mean, it was an incredible time, but it was just constant fighting. Ted Cruz is my guy, and I can't even. Ron Paul's my guy, or and fighting back and forth, and then Trump goes up there and starts making fun of
Jeb Bush first. He destroys Jeb Bush right away.
Yeah, Jeb Bush, and he goes and makes fun of Ted Cruz, and then all the Ted Cruz people are like, no, don't make fun of my guy, and then he goes and attacks Rand Paul and talks about Rand Paul's hair.
Marco,
and
he didn't attack Ben Carson once. Because I think he knew Ben Carson would intellectually destroy him, and I think he wanted Ben Carson in his cabinet the whole time if he did win.
I
love Ben Carson. I was a Ben Carson guy initially.
Really smart, and he didn't want to attack Ben that way, but also Ben is honestly one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. So so I don't know. I think he did well to avoid. I also think it would have come off too mean. Like when you attack Rosie O'Donnell, that's one thing, but if you go after Ben Carson, you're kind of already just setting yourself up that you're an asshole. So
yes.
Ted Cruz, not so much. You're attacking a seasoned politician there, but if you're just attacking brain surgeons randomly, then it seems a little petty.
You'd basically be on the left at that point.
Right.
Do you think we see Kanye on the debate stage? He's already saying he's going to run. He announced that he's going to run in 2024.
Do we see him on the debate stage?
If he gets enough, they kind of can't deny him if he declares basically being, on the right, not necessarily Republican, but he like independent on the right.
I don't know. I think I honestly don't see him on the debate stage, but I mean, stranger things have happened. I think he has a really big hill to climb because despite what we want to think about, legacy media is dead. They have no influence. They still carry a ton of influence with just normal voters.
Yes.
No, like they're, them running stories on how Kanye is, he's a black white supremacist kind of stuff.
Anti-Semite.
People really don't want to be associated with it. They were willing to be associated with it for Trump because it was so clear that he wasn't that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. I think they blurred it a little too much. That, you know, Kanye's already got some baggage of being a little unpredictable, and like even more unpredictable than Trump is.
Just a little bit. It's a smidge.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if he can overcome that mountain. I don't know if he can climb that mountain.
Be too much to ask for Republicans to allow that mayhem. They already did it once with Trump. I don't think they would allow Kanye and Trump to both get up there, and yeah, that'd be too much fun.
It would be madness. That is for sure.
It'd be a debacle, man.
It would be amazing. But Carpe, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was a blast.
Thanks for having me.
This was good. Dave, do you have anything to finish off with before we jump off here?
No, I did not expect the Kanye question to come up. I'm not going to lie to you. That's quite a way to end the podcast.
Listen, you ended off with Kanye. That's the way to do it. Anything else, Dave?
No, I'm good, actually.
Once again, Logan Cook, better known as Carpe Donktum, still really good on Twitter. If you haven't followed him on Twitter yet, he's officially back. He trolls everybody. He just trolled a bunch of his followers with a link that I did not dare copy and paste because it didn't seem safe. When Carpe says do something, I usually do the opposite, but he's freaking hilarious. Go on there and follow him. Anything that you would like to promote outside of your Twitter?
No, I'm good. You did a good job.
Awesome. So again, if you liked what you hear today, what you hear all the time, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars, spread this word of mouth, find us on the socials, and we will be back again next week for another great show. Everyone, so long.